Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sima Gold. If this is your first time, please kindly subscribe to my channel. So today we are going to be making the beautiful gown we saw earlier on, and I'm going to first of all start by marking my shoulder to waist. The shoulder to waist for this baby is 9. Our shoulder measurement is 9. 9 divided by 2 gives me 4.5. I would have the half inch for the armhole joining. Then I will mark my shoulder measurement, my shoulder slope measurement, and then I would come down for the armhole depth by 5.5 inches. Then I'll take down the 5 inches for the shoulder down to this place, and then I would connect. Then for the neck, I'll be doing 3 inches by 3.5 inches, and then I'll be connecting. Then I'll connect the shoulder slope. The chest measurement is 23. 23 divided by 4 gives me 5.7 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. The same thing on the waist. The waist is 23 divided by 4 give me 5.7 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. So all I need to do is to connect to the shoulder slope. So after doing that, I'll cut out. So I've cut out for the front. So the next thing we'll do is to go to the back. I will just trace my measurements to the back. Let me just trace my full front bodies. So I will just trace it. Now this is the trace I have for the front measure for the back measurement. Now for the back, I'm going to be adding a zipper allowance of 1.5 here and 1.5 here. So I'll add it first. Now for the back, I want the back to be deep V. Not this one. Now let's say this is the deep V. So I'll come from here. I'll come from this part and I'll mark it straight like this. And then I'll cut. So this is the front and this is the back. Now for the front, you will notice that there is a net design at the front part. So what I'll do at this point, I'll go in by half of an inch. So when it's unfold and it's open, it become 1 inch. And then here I'll go inward by 1 inch. And then I'll connect it like a V shape. Now this is the center front, this is the neck, and this is the waist. You take note of that part. And then you cut it out. So the next thing we are going to do now is to transfer this to our fabric. Okay, so I have this fabric that I'm going to be using for it. I'll take the front first. I have my net that I'll use for the front part. I'll pick up the front first and I'll place it, and then I'll cut. So I'll add a bit of 0.5 or 0.25 for the joining allowance when I want to join it to the net, and then I'll cut the shoulder slope. I'll keep it aside. I'll pick up my back pattern and I'll cut exactly what I have here. Remember that we've added all the sewing allowances, the zipper allowances on the pattern paper. So all we are just doing is cutting exactly what we have. So I've cut this part. I'll take the net now and this pattern. I'll fold the net into two. I'll double my net. Now this will serve as the one I'll join to the fabric. And this will serve as the one I'll join to the lining. So I'll fold this one into two, and I'll fold this one into two. Then I'll place them together. One is going to be added to the main fabric while the other one is going to be added to the main lining. So after doing this, I'll pick up this and I'll place it here, and I'll go ahead to cut. So this is it, and this is the part that will complete this part for the front. So I've cut the one that will be on the fabric and the one that will be on the lining. So I will just pin it down and keep. This will be the one that will be on the, this is the fabric for the front, and this is the back. So I'll go ahead and cut the lining for them, and then I'll proceed to the next step. Okay, so I have the front pattern here already. I have the front pattern here. So, and I have the linings and I have the nets. So what I'll be doing first of all is to take two nets and keep the other two. And then I'll lift up the front first for now. I'll keep the back, the lining. And then I'll start from the waist part. I'll double it like this, and then I would start sewing. So after doing that, I'll trim off whatever excess net I have. Now remember that when we were cutting the lower parts of this, on the pattern paper we'll mark half, so meaning when it's unfold it should be one, so we'll make sure that we have the 1 inches here, and here it's supposed to be 2 inches. So that is at that point of that 2 inches that I will take this other one and place, and make sure that this one they are together, and then I would go ahead to sew. So after sewing, this is what I have for the front. So I'll just trim off every thread I have here and every excess I have here. Then you can now go to your ironing table. You place your hemming gum here and iron this place flat. You place your hemming gum here, iron this place flat. And after doing that, you repeat the same process for the lining of the front before we go to the back. So I'll go ahead and do that and show us. Okay, so I'm done with these parts. As you can see, this is the lining part and this is the net. This is the main fabric and this is the net part. So for the back, all I needed to do was to close up my zipper allowance for now. This is the zipper allowance for the fabric, and this is the zipper allowance for the dress, for the lining, sorry. So what I will do now is to take this shoulder of the main fabric, front and back. I'll join them together and I'll do the same thing for the lining. So I'll take the two shoulders, join them shoulder to shoulder. I'll take this shoulder and I'll join them shoulder to shoulder. I'll repeat the same thing for the lining. I'll take the both shoulders and join together. So after doing this, I would now come and fit the lining separately and then fit the fabric separately. So I'm working with a bust of 23 divided by 2 gives me 11 and a half. So I'll be marking my 11 and a half here. Whatever I have left, I have 5 inches left, so I'll mark 2.5 inches here and 2.5 inches here. Then if you measure it from this end to this end, you see that you have 11.5. So I'll repeat the same thing on the waist. The waist I'm working with is 23 divided by 2 is 11 and a half. Whatever I have left here, I have 4.5, so I'll mark 2.5, 2.25 here and connect. and then I'll just get my 11.5 by this side and then connect it too. Now after doing this, I'm going to sew on both sides, and I'll repeat the same fitting process on the main fabric. So I've fitted the lining and I've done the same thing for the fabric. So all I need to do now is to open up this zipper allowance that I closed up before. I'll repeat the same thing for the lining. I'll open it up, then I would get the front, these net parts. I'll make sure I align them first. That should be your first point of contact or your first point of call, is to make sure that the net parts are aligning very well. Now when you've done this, you make sure that the shoulders are aligning very well. Make sure they align, and then you pin. Make sure the other shoulders, open it flat, that they are aligning. So after doing that, you can start joining. But in joining, I would not start the joining from the I will start the joining immediately after this zipper allowance, because I don't want the zip to be turned. I want to do an inner sewing, so there's a way to do that. So from this point, I will start sewing. I will start immediately after the zipper allowance, like I said. So you get to the next point, you do the same thing, just keep turning it. So after doing this, we would now take this part, we'll top stitch every part towards the lining. You do every part towards the lining. So after doing that, this is what we have. This is what we have. And then this is the inside. You see that it's neat finished. So the next part we are going to go to now is the sleeve part of this dress. So in preparation for the armhole, I don't want to do an inner sewing for the armhole. So what I did was to top stitch the armhole, the main fabric and the lining together at the armhole part, and I repeated the same thing here. Now to the front, so that you have the net well relaxed, I top stitch from this point I top stitch from this point to this point. I left about 1.5 inches like this because I want the lining and the other ones to be separate. So I top stitch the net together till I got to this point, and then every other thing still remains. This is the zipper part that we did not turn. So basically this is what we have, and this is what I have now. If you can see this white stuff here, you know that normally the inside of this fabric, sequence fabric, is usually red. I added my hairstay on it so that I can make it firm, so it will not just be stretching anyhow. I forgot to mention that earlier on. So now we are going to go straight to the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I would be needing my ad net. I'll be needing my ad net, and I folded the ad net into 4 because this ad net is not so thick, so I need to double it up so that it can give me the firmness I want. Now for the length of sleeve, I'll first of all mark 2 inches from here, then I will mark 5 inches. Now for this 5 inches that I marked here, my round sleeve is 9 inches. 9 inches divided by 2 give me 4.5 plus 1.5 inches, that's 6.5. That's 6 inches, sorry. Then I would measure around the armhole of this. The round armhole for this is 5.5. So I'll come to this other line, I'll mark the 5.5. Then I would curve. Then I will now come to this first 2 inches that I mark, and then because I want it to have a bit of a puffy shape, and then blend it into this armhole like this. Before I would now blend it to this part, and after doing that I would cut it out. Now because I still want this down part to have a little bit of puffy stuff, I would come down by say 1 inch, like this, and then I will go ahead to cut it. Then from this part that is the round armhole, I will just extend like this. If you do not understand, please watch this video again. I believe by the time you're done watching it, you will understand it. So the next part I'll be needing is the main fabric. This net is 4. That is to say 2 per sleeve and 2 per sleeve. So I will be needing the fabric now to cut. Now this is the fabric. So I would now cut the shape, the exact shape of this. Now repeat the same thing here. Now all I need to do is to pick up this. I'll place my net here, and I'll just secure all of them together first by top stitching round it. So I'll just go ahead and top stitch round it. So when you top stitch, this is what you have. If you see now, it has more stamina. When you pleat, it has a tendency to hold the pleats. Then I've cut the lining. So the next thing I'll be doing is to turn. I'll be turning every part of this sleeve, every part, with this lining. Then I'll make a little opening here that I'll turn out and still that I'll use to turn it out, and then top stitch. Now the reason why you are turning every part is because this is a child. Number 1. you don't want the net to start irritating the baby's skin. So you need the dress as comfortable as it can be for the child. Both the armhole, every part of this dress will be turned, of this sleeve should be turned with the lining before you fit. And that is why you see us wear all the sewings are hidden, because you don't want a child crying and feeling irritated on their dress. So I'll go ahead and turn it to the lining and then show us the outcome. So after turning it, I fitted it by 1/2 inch, and this is the front part of it. So I have my band, and my band unfold I need about 4.5, because the total round sleeve is 9. So I'll mark the 4.5 and I'll sew it straight down, and I'll repeat the same thing here for the second sleeve. So I've turned the band. All I need to do now is to gather this to the band to this point, and then I'll join this upper part. I'll gather it and join to the armhole. So after doing that, I'll show us the final outcome. Then we can go ahead to cut for the lower part and then sew and fix our zip. Okay, so it's ready. The sleeve is ready now. Then this is the front and this is the back. So the next thing, we are going to go to the table now and talk about the down part, how to go about it, and then the sewing, and then the dress is ready. Okay, so this is our top, like the upper part, like we already know. Now the length of the lower part is 14 inches, and that 14 inches, I have 4 steps of flare that will be going down there. So I will divide 14 into 4 steps. So that would leave me with about 3.5 inch distance for each net. Now for that net, I want it to be doubled. So that's like 3.5 times 2, that's 7 inches. So that is what I have here. Then for that 7 inches, I would now add extra 1 inch. 1 inch is for me to sew it in, and the other half inch is for me to sew it in, sorry, and the other half inch is for it to be able to cover the next step. So as it is here, I have altogether 9 inch, 9 inch, 9 inch in 4 places. So this is all about the net, and each net is as long as 10 yards. So I used a total of 10 yards for this net. Then I started cutting it step by step. So the length of each of these now is about 10 yards. So I'll keep this one aside. Now for the part that will be the base for me to pleat the net on, I have 2 yards of a satin. This satin is in 2 yards, and I added my gum stay on the satin. And after adding my gum stay, remember, like I told you, the length of this lower part is 14, but I'm not going to be using entirely 14. I'm going to be minusing 4 inches from it, because one part of this first step of the net is going to be sewn at the mouth of it. Then I'm going to divide this other part into 3 parts, this part now into 3. So 3 steps, 3 nets will be here, while the last one will be at the mouth of it. Now for the base of it, for it to have stamina, I added my gum stay, and then on top of this gum stay, I'm going to sew my net, my hard net, on top of this gum stay. Then we'll do all of that on the sewing machine. So we'll just go to the sewing machine now and sew together. Okay, now for this base, I'm going to be sewing my hard nets on it now. Please use a matching thread. So this is what I'll just practically do. I will sew my hard net on this base, round it. Then after that, I'll show us the next step to take. So I've added the hard net so the gum stay. And so this is what we have, and I've divided this into three. So I have three. This is 11 divided by um 3 give me 3.6. So this place will be one step. Then I mark the 3.6 here, it will serve as the second step. Then I mark another 3.6 here, which will serve as the third step. And then the last step will be on the mouth part of this to complete the length. So I will go right now to sew my net to this base. So what I will do now is to fold this net into two. You can actually choose to gather before you do it, but I would just love to pleat and continue. So what I will first of all do at this part that will have my zipper, I will not be doing any pleating. I will just sew straight to about 2 inches first. Then after that, I will start my pleating. You can choose to gather first, but I want to pleat. You can choose to pleat, gather first before pleating it on. You can choose to gather first before sewing it on your base, but I would love to pleat while sewing. So I will do this for the first step. I will do the same thing for the second step, the third step, and the fourth step, and then I'll show us the final outcome. Okay, so I'm done fixing all the steps. This is the first step, the second step, the third step, and the fourth step. So all I need to do now is to get the first lining that I have, which is this one. I'll come to the lower part of this and I'll sew on it, and then turn it to cover up all of this rough work and top stitch. So I'll just turn it, raise this place up. I'll do that, and then I'll show us the final outcome. So after turning, this is the outcome. This is how the back look, and this is the front. So all I need to do now is to get my needle and thread, and then I will start pleating it to the actual waist of this gown, of these upper bodies. But before I will pleat, I will leave about 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. Then I will start pleating immediately after the 1.5 inches. So the waist I have here is waist 23. So I'll pleat this until it gets to waist 23. After pleating, I will show us how to couple it together. So I'm done handing it to this part, to the upper part. As you can see, I only added it to the main fabric. This part that has the lining, I have not added it to, and I've not added anything to it. So what I will do now is to take this one that will serve as my lining and then place it on this lining. Now you would ask, why do I need to do that? Because you don't want these parts to irritate the child. So you need to cover up this place, and then it will be like this, so it will not be irritating the baby's skin. So all I need to do now is to take this lining to lining. I'll first of all sew straight about 1.5 inches where my zip would pass. So after marking this, sewing straight this 1.5, you can now start your pleating. You can actually do gathers, you can actually just pleat. So I prefer to pleat. So I'll pleat to this other end, and then I will still just sew 1.5 inches straight without gathering, because this is the part that my zip is going to pass through. I don't want to be having issues when fixing the zip. So after fixing that, I'll show us, and then we'll go to the next step. So after doing that, this is what we have. This is how the inside now looks. So the next thing we are going to be doing is the zip. Now you have two options. It's either you just close up this part and fix your zip, or you do the inner sewing for the zip too, which is what I'll be doing. I would come from the waist part, making sure that both waists they are meeting, and I'll come down by say 6 or 7. So let's do that together. I'll come down by 6 or 7, and then I will mark my zipper allowance of 1.5 inches here, and then I will just close up the next part. I'll close up this part first. So this is for the fabric part. Now I'll come to the lining part too. I'll make sure that both waists are meeting. I'll repeat what I did at the fabric to fabric. I would come down. If I came down by 6 on the fabric to fabric, I'll come down by 6.5 on the lining. So I'll just get that, and then I'll mark my 1.5 inches on my zipper allowance, and I'll sew. So after doing that, this is what we'd have. This is what we'll have for now. So I'll turn everything to the front of the fabric. I would lift up just the fabric now. Remember that when we were sewing, I asked us not to sew this zipper part. Now this is the point we need it. I will just take my zip. I will just take my zip only on the fabric, not on the lining now, and I'll start sewing from here, from the zip downward. Make sure that you are taking in 1.5. And then you just try to turn it like this, so your zip can come downward here. You see this place that you joined, your zip should go inside. So for the excess zip, I will just cut off. Now this is what I have for now. This is what I have for now. You see that it went inside. So I will repeat the same step for this other side, making sure that they both meet at this waist part. So after doing that, I will show us how to fix the lining to the zip. Okay, so I've fixed the zip completely on the other side. So this is what the inside looks like. You see that the zip was sewn down to this extent. Now how do you turn it to the lining? It's simple. Just open the zip to an extent. You take this lining and you place it this way. You turn it like this. Then the first thing you do is to sew here straight, and then you sew down. So I'll do that now. I'll first of all make sure that the necks are touching very well. I'll make sure that the necks are touching very well. Then after doing that, I will just start the way I place the lining like this. This is the lining. So I'll pick up one side of the zipper part, and then I'll sew straight down. So after doing that, I would come and show us the final outcome. So after fixing it, this is what you would have. So you see that the inside have no reason to irritate the child. And then this is what the zipper at the back looks like. So I will just go now, I will steam the down part, put it on the mannequin and just how it looks. I'll be adding some bow at this point. So you just make
So
your
this is the
bow,
final
your
outcome of the
desired bow,
dress. Do
and
well to
design it.
like,
If you want to
share, and
stone, you
subscribe
can
to my
choose to
channel.
stone depending on your
And
choice.
until next
And
time,
after
I
that,
remain
your
Sima
dress
Gold.
is ready.
Thank you
So
for
I would
watching,
wear
and
this on the
always stay
mannequin
glued to
and
this
show us the
channel.
final
Bye.
outcome.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sima Gold. So if this is your first time, please kindly hit that subscription button. Yes, right now just hit it. Yes, thank you. So today we are making this beautiful top, and it's as simple as anything. Just stay glued to this channel, and if this looks like what you want to learn, and trust me, you're going to learn it because it's an easy peasy to learn. So please don't forget to like my videos and share my videos. Um, yeah, I just goof around. Sometimes it's good to play around with your top when you know that you made the right thing.
So today we are going to be making a simple, beautiful crop top we saw earlier before this. And we got straight into the tutorial. Now for that top, the first thing you need is actually your shoulder to under bust. I'm making use of the length of 20 inches. So the from that 20 inches I'll be minusing my shoulder to under bust. So now my shoulder to under bust is 15 inches, but I mark 16 because of the joining allowance, the seam allowance that I'm using to join to the lower part. So 20 minus 15 will give me 5. So it means that after this under shoulder to under bust, I'll be needing a band of 5 inches to complete this top. So we'll have it at the back of our mind that we need a band of 5 inches. So you can actually alter this using your own measurement and your own preference. But for this, I need my shoulder to under bust first, and then my remaining measurement to complete the length of my blouse. So the shoulder to under bust is 15 plus 1 inch for joining allowance, that's 16. Then I'll go to the shoulder measurement. I'm working with a shoulder of 8 inches. So this is 8 inches and this is 8 inches. I want a shoulder slope. I'm using a shoulder slope of 1 inch. A shoulder slope of 1 inch. Then I'm using a armhole of 9 inches. So I'll mark my 9 inches now. I'll come towards here and I'll mark my 9 inches. Then connect. After that, I'll mark my shoulder measurement of 8 inches so that I can have a straight line, and I'll repeat the same here. 8 inches, 8 inches, and 8 inches so that I can just have a straight line. For the front part, I will get the mid armhole, which is 4.5. I would go inward by half of an inch and I'll connect. Then I'm working with a bust measurement of 46 divided by 4 gives me 11.5. So I'll be marking 11.5 here. Then on this under bust line, I will still mark my 11.5. Then I'll connect my armhole to this point and then connect this straight down. Then when it comes to the front neck, I would go inward by 4 inches. Then I'll come downward by 8 or 8.5. So I'm using 8.5 here. Then I'll connect it. After doing that, I'll connect my shoulder slope. So the front is ready. When we go to the back, for the back neck, I'll be doing 4 inches by 1.5, and I will then connect. Then I would get the middle of my shoulder, which is 4.5. I would go in by 0.25, then connect. My bust measurement is 11.5. I will extend it down to the under bust, which is and I'll mark by 11.5, and then I would connect and connect. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to cut. So this is the front and this is the back. They are both ready. So the next thing we'll do is to cut the collar for this top. So this is the pattern paper I'll be using to cut the collar. Like we did earlier on, this is the front pattern and this is the back pattern. So all I need to do to get this collar is to join the shoulders together for now. To join the shoulder, the pattern, the shoulders. So after doing that, this is what I have. I will take this back. I'll place it towards this place. So it should be on the same line with this. And all I simply need to do is to first of all trace out my neck. So this is the neck. Then on this shoulder part, I'll move outward by 2.5 inches on this shoulder line. From here, I will come outward by 2.5 inches. Then from this shoulder join, the line with the shoulders will join together, I will mark 6 inches here, and I'll just mark it straight down. So it depends on how you want the collar to fall. Then I will just come out and connect this to this, so the back part is ready. Now for the front, I would from the shoulder part come down by 13 inches. And try to maintain this straight line here, downward. If it's not straight, you correct it, make sure that it becomes straight, and then you connect. Then for this center front, you draw your line downward. Now for you can give this front collar any kind of shape you want, but you can choose to leave the collar like this, you can choose to just come like this, but for this tutorial we'll be marking this line. This is the shape of the front part of this collar. So the next thing we are going to do is to get our tracing wheel and trace. Now in tracing, we are going to be tracing the part that we actually need on this pattern wheel. Now this line now doesn't count because this is the new shape of our collar. So I'll start from there to trace, and then I'll trace all the parts that will basically not show on the pattern paper you are using for the collar is what you should trace. Other parts that are going to show, there wouldn't be need to keep tracing them. So after tracing that out, I would mark it out so we can see. So this is the other part, this is this, and this is this. So our collar is actually ready. Now if you feel that you want to adjust the shape of your collar, you can always feel free to do that, because I can actually choose to still extend here downward. I can actually choose to still extend this pointed part downward if I want. So I will just do this Then when I'm done cutting, if I feel it's too long, I can maybe go back to using this. So just know how to draft the collar, and then you can actually alter it to whatever shape you want. So let's cut together. So this is what we have now after tracing the collar. I kind of seem to like this one that came very low, but if you're following the design exactly, this is what we should have, like this, exactly this. But I want to alter it a bit. I think I love it when it's a bit longer, so I would use this. So just know the kind of shape you want, and then you can really direct it towards that direction. So the next thing we are going to do is to open up this shoulder that we joined together again, so that we can go ahead to cut on the fabric. Our collar is ready and it looks so beautiful. I can't wait to see the outcome. So I'm using this organza fabric for the collar, for the body, sorry. As you can see, it's actually a transparent organza. So the first thing I will go ahead to do is to cut the back pattern of this style. So my fabric is on fold. I am not the back part of this fabric of this top is not to have a slit at all. So I'll just fold this, which I've already done. This is the folded part, and this is the center back of my pattern paper, which I placed already. So I'm good to go. All I need to do right now is to mark 2 inches sewing allowance here, 2 inches sewing allowance, and then I can go ahead to cut. Then I'll go ahead to cut the neck. So having done this, I'll lay it aside. Then we'll talk about the front pattern. Now for the front, I will be needing side seams and then my zipper allowance. So I would come to the side, I would mark 2 inches sewing allowance. While I will come to this part, I'll be marking 1.5 inches zipper allowance. There is a zip design in front of this particular top, and then you just cut. So after cutting, our front bodies and our back bodies is ready. So we'll keep it aside, and then we go over to the collar. Now for the collar, remember this is a transparent organza, but for the collar I will be adding a stay to it, which I already did. You can actually use a stay, most preferably, so that the structure will stay very well. So now all I need to do, this is folded into two. You fold it into two first of all, You make sure that the back part is at the folded part. The center back of this collar is at the folded part, and you simply cut. So the collar is ready to be used. So what I would go ahead to do is to cut, and now look at the shape. It's so beautiful. I love the extended shape, which I did extra because it kind of gave it a very more defined look. So I'm going to cut another one for this color because I need two of this. So I have cut the second one. So we have two of the color ready. So we're going to go to the lower part, which is the band of the top. I'm dealing with a blouse length of 20 inches, and already we minus 15 inches, which happens to be the shoulder to underbust. So I should be left with 5 inches. So I have my 5 inches here plus extra 1 inches, making it a total of 6 inches. So we have one. By the time we are done joining, it will automatically go back to our 20 inches of blouse. So it's better you add your joining allowance so you do not have shortage. So you can use your actual length to do this. Now, how do I calculate what I need for this band? I'm working with a waist of 38 inches. Then I have a zipper allowance for the front zip, but which is one and a half, one and a half. One and a half plus one and a half gives me 3 inches. So all I will need to do is to add that 3 inches to the waist measurement, which is 39. So 39 plus 3 inches is going to give me 42 inches. So it means that I will be cutting out 42 inches. Meanwhile, take note that for the waist part, I also added my hairstay interfacing so that it will give the waist to it will help, so that it will help the waist to be firm. So after doing that, I would now mark out my waist measurement plus my zipper allowance. So in total, I'll be marking out 42 inches. So this is my 42 inches, which I'll be cutting out. So we can see that everything we need for this top is ready aside the sleeve. So the first thing I'm going to be doing now is to go to my sewing machine. I will join the shoulders of this together, and I'll fit the side to my measurements. But when fitting, please note that whatever you use for your bust measurement is what you use for this under bust. Just take it straight and take it straight down. Then I'm going to be turning this collar so that they can be together. So what I'll be doing for this particular collar is to sew from here like this, like this, like this, and like this. But the neck part, I would not be touching it. So when I'm done doing this, I would come back and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I've joined the shoulder and fit the sides, and I've turned the collar. So this is what we have. So the next thing I will do is to go to the wrong parts of this fabric, and then get the middle part of the collar and the middle part of this, and sew this collar straight to this end and to this end, making sure that it doesn't enter into my 1.5 inches that I care for my zipper allowance. Then I'll turn it to the front and top stitch. After doing that for the collar, then I'll go to the band. I'll get this band that will complete the length of my blouse. And as you can see, this top is longer than the band, so all I will need to do is to give some slight pleating at the lower part of this top to make sure it fits exactly into this band. So you are going to be doing a little kind of gathers, especially at the front part and at the back parts, until you get up to 43 inches, which you will now sew to this. So I'll join the collar and join the band and show us the outcome. Then after doing that, I'll then fix my front zip to this top and show us the outcome before we go over to the sleeve drafting. Okay, so our top is ready. I've turned the collar, I added the band and fixed my zip. So the only thing remaining for this is the sleeve. So the round armhole which I measured is 12, so you measure your own round armhole. So having done the blouse, the next thing we have to do is the sleeve. So for the sleeve, if you notice, it has some puffy. The first elbow part has some puff, while the hand has some puff too. So um what I will do first of all is to get my shoulder to elbow, which is 12. I would now add extra 5 inches. That will make it 17 for the shoulder to elbow. So I'll be marking 17 inches here, 17 inches here, 17 inches. I will just continue marking it straight like this. Now after marking that one, this for the first step, this the from the elbow to the wrist I have 11, and I'll be adding say 4 inches, so that makes a total of 15 inches. So I'll be marking 15 inches. So I'll trim off whatever is left here. So this is the first step, which is 17. Due to the fact that this is two sleeve, just so that I'll be sure I'm doing the right thing, I'll turn the other part that I'll be using for the sleeve again and mark my 17 inches just to be safe. So I'll mark my 17 inches and I'll mark my 17 inches. After doing that, I would fold it into two, making the total of 4 now, and I will curve out my armhole shape. Then I would open up this side. I'll open up the side that needs to be opened up. Now for this, the sleeve is ready. For this sleeve, the only thing I need to do is to get my elastic and sew it on top of this part. You stretch and sew. Don't fit the sleeve at all. Then for this hemming part, I'll make a casing for the elastic. I would insert it, then I would close up this place by half of an inch and then insert it to my armhole. So after doing this, I'm going to put on the top and we are going to see the final outcome. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if this is your first time, and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. Until next time, I remain Simago. Thank you.